Hi.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to another
Uh-oh.
episode of
Now
Moke.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can. There you are.
All right.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Moke Friends. Today it is Moke and Andy.
Hi.
How
Hi,
you doing,
Moke.
Andy?
Hi, buddy.
How you doing? How are
I'm
you?
okay. This is weird. My first podcast. It's like, what? I put on my readers, when you get over 40 years old, I'll be 42 next week. Kidding. You put on the readers so you can actually see. I
Yeah.
went for a driver's license this past birthday, so I'm doing this, and then I'm like, A B F F da, da, and the girl was so sweet. She goes, "I'm gonna put on your license that you need glasses." I went, "Oh shit."
So you passed?
Oh, I got the license, yeah, but the eye test was a joke. No matter which eye I covered up, it didn't really matter. It was all a blur.
Yeah.
So it was fine though, I got the
Yeah.
license.
Did they make you drive?
No, no, and not even a test. So I think it's like every 6 years now, maybe. Where I don't know, hon. Yeah, it was 6 years ago that I had it renewed. So this was the year, but no driving. I think
Well, I guess they wouldn't make you drive as long as it's still
yeah.
suspended or something.
It's weird because I've never really had, knock on wood, I've never had an accident that was like my fault kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Wow.
And of course, I got a couple speeding tickets in my day, but you know,
Yeah.
that's to be accepted. I grew up in the Motor City, Detroit.
Oh, you're from Detroit?
Well, I was born in Chicago.
Mm.
Yeah, but I moved to Detroit as a young girl and raised in Detroit. So I consider myself a Detroiter.
Okay, so
Yeah.
before we because I want you to have the floor as much as possible today. But
Hmm.
before we get into that,
Hmm.
um, let's. I just want to let the people know how we met.
No.
We met at a Jackie Vincent concert,
Yep.
and it was your birthday weekend, or it was your birthday that day.
It was. I think we met each other. It was the 19th, and then my
Mhm.
birthday is on the 20th. So I was,
I think it was the 18th.
was that okay? Yeah.
Yeah,
It was such a great night, wasn't it?
it was, and I remember you walked up to me
Yeah.
eh, and you started talking to me because I was standing there, and then you bought me a drink,
Oh, yeah.
and then you went on and did you were just all over the place that night. You was.
Yeah. I asked you the first thing. I stood next to you because you're so tall, and I went, "Are you famous?" And so I knew you were somebody, and I knew I had a new friend. So
But see, you say I am somebody, but I believe you may be somebody
yeah.
because I overheard you talking. I wasn't eavesdropping, but I overheard you talking about just the I mean, I say this respectfully, but like the
Yeah.
older days that you had, you
Uh-huh.
know, and what the things you used to do. And so where do you want to start off? I actually have a segment, and I call it the let's see. I called it the life of Andy.
Aw, all right.
Now, I think you are a very legendary person
Aw.
because I mean okay, just start because I don't want to give anything away.
No, you're great. You're doing fine. I'll pinch a hit. I'll come in anytime you're ready.
I'm
The life,
ready.
the life of Andy. That is so funny.
I'm
Um,
ready.
yeah, I can't believe, when you look at your life and then the things that you've done, you think like, what have I really accomplished? But then when you really look back, you went, I've had a pretty darn good life.
Yeah.
It's been good to me. My health is good. I have two great kids, three grandkids, and all that. But I think where life takes your path is the one that you choose.
Mm.
And it's all about making the right choice. Some choices weren't good. I grew up in Detroit. So it was like, it was not the easiest town to get along in the, God, in 1967,
Mm.
the riots. It was so sad. the Detroit riots, where the city was literally burning. And then the year after that, 1968, the Detroit Tigers won the World Series. So here I am, cruising down Woodward Avenue. Everything was peace and love. Like a year later, it was incredible. The Vietnam War was going on, so I lost a lot of friends in Vietnam.
Mm,
But every night it just seemed, how we can't really get used to the idea of like this is the norm. You know how the fires in California and everything are
right.
like, oh, it's another fire. Well, no, it's not. It's a fire. Like we have to like do something. Like, it's I don't know where I'm going with this, but we just can't take things for granted anymore. You know?
I agree, and what I mean. I was gonna say what's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about all the cool shit you have done in life that
Mhm.
I actually forgot that you like lived through some real shit.
Yeah, the riots were pretty tough, buddy. I went to a parochial school, um, Catholic Catholic school, 12 years. I had the chance to go to a public school, but I chose to stay where I was at. It was called St. James
Mm,
in Ferndale, Michigan, about 12 miles north of Detroit. So basically, it was just, it was a really crazy upbringing. I was a pretty wild Catholic girl. So
yeah.
back in the day, Moke, we would there was this avenue. Henry Ford obviously built this stretch, like Henry Ford the first or whoever. There was a street called Woodward Avenue. There's a Woodward here in Austin.
Mm,
It's spelled the same way. So Woodward Avenue in Detroit is a strip of cement, road, highway. It's not a highway. It goes through all the suburbs that you cruise Woodward and pick up boys. So you would like, I literally like push my mom's car out of the driveway. She'd never hear me starting the car, and we could like fill it up for like 50 cents a gallon back then.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? I
Yeah.
know, weird, right?
Man.
But it was so much fun, and there were all the drive-ins. Like one time during during my teenage years, of driving, I pretended that I was a foreign exchange student from England. You know, because the Beatles were probably, the Beatles were like, that was the very first concert I ever went to,
Yeah.
were the Beatles. So one year, shortly after, I decided, oh, I'm going to pretend I'm a foreign exchange student from England. Yeah, right. So I dated this fellow for like, it was a few months. And every time the phone would ring, my mom would say, why are you talking like that? I went, it's all right, Mom. I'm okay. You know? So
You never like given an explanation?
no, he would pick me up and I would run out the door literally in my mini skirt or hot pants, and meet up with him. One time he took me to an American bowling alley his aunt owned. And me, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this one? So, and he gave me a bowling pin as a souvenir. And it was like, oh my God.
And you were still keeping up with the accent?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Even
yeah.
around his family?
No, I never met
Oh,
the family.
oh,
So this carried on for for a couple of months, right? Until he saw some article in the paper, the local paper. It was called the Royal Oak Tribune. And I was headlined in the section like Adrian Uscali, Senior of the Week, St. James High School, attended here 12 years. And he called me up and he went, "You bitch." And then I went, "Oh, righto." It was like,
you still kept at it.
yeah, and he hung up, and that was the last I heard from him. But just the antics that we did when we were kids,
Right, yeah, yeah.
the crazy stuff, not getting into trouble, or that didn't come till later.
Mhm.
But the nuns were really tough. The nuns were really, really tough. I took piano lessons like this chubby little girl in third grade, and Sister Mary Angus. She looked like a side of beef.
Yeah.
Took her little pointer, and I was trying to play my little three blind mice. And I obviously I missed a note. So she started hitting my fingers on the keyboard.
Mm.
So I picked the pointer back up and I hit her back. So so I got kicked out of piano and I was like 9 years old or something. But
Wow. Wow.
I don't know, honey. Wayne State University, it was inner city.
Mm.
Good times back then. I was divorced. And then I went back to college. I was a single mom and I raised two kids.
Mm.
And it worked out really well. But I got a little crazy back in 79, right before I graduated in 1980
Wow. What do you mean?
from college.
No. What do you mean you got a little crazy?
Oh, in 79, I had the opportunity to work for a little band named Kiss.
Now,
Yeah.
okay. So when okay, when you say a little band, like were they a little band at the time?
Oh, no,
So-
no,
so-
no. I was just being sarcastic.
Oh, so
Kiss,
how did that come about?
back in the day, Kiss was the biggest show on the road. There were 10 matching Peterbilts,
Mm-hmm.
and the pyro was incredible. The 30 of us, we were all crew from Detroit. So I had met someone that said, "Hey, why don't you come out with us?" And I was finishing the last semester at college, whatever. And I said, "Okay." So the very first show, it was just an incredible time.
So somebody just like invited you just to.
Yeah, to join the group because a friend of mine was one of the drivers. He drove one of the semis.
Hmm,
So he was just, he came into my life. We were kind of dating.
yeah.
And
Wow.
back before I knew it, then I was out, out on the road with Kiss. But it was the very last leg of the journey. It was only for about 4 months or so.
Wow.
So they needed somebody to fill in, but mostly I just tried to make myself look busy.
Like what were you doing?
Preset jeans, blood towels, costume. They did their own makeup and things like that, but just sort of making sure that road cases had to go where they needed to go. Being an assistant to like one of the head wardrobe girls.
Like,
Yeah.
but were you ever around the band?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
All the time.
how are they like?
Well, you know what? They were
Were you
incredible.
starstruck? Sorry to catch you up, but were you starstruck?
At first, yeah. I guess the funniest thing I could tell you is my first my first gig. It was at the Cow Palace in Chicago,
Hmm.
and I'm stage left and stage right. I'm trying to do a little preset with jeans, blood towels, and the crew. They're all doing their thing up on stage. And this guy Chuck Elias, he was the drum roadie, so he's behind the big tam and he's like yelling out to me. I was tapping this girl on the shoulder. She was kind of in my way. And I said, excuse me, do you mind moving? And the crew's dying of laughter. They just went, Andy, leave the lady alone. I went, what? They go, it's Cher. I went, ah, no.
Wow.
She was dating Gene Simmons.
Really?
Yeah, it
What
was pretty crazy.
what would you say if you saw like the craziest thing that I'm pretty sure you saw a lot of crazy things. Like how were
Yeah,
the party? Were there good parties?
there were there were parties. Yeah, Gene was the most level-headed. Gene Simmons.
Mm.
It's pretty weird to say that Gene. After I had to leave the tour for a little bit, and then I came back out. So when I was on a road case backstage, Gene comes up to me and he's sitting next to me and hands me a beer. I just went, oh my, this is so weird. He's
Yeah.
handing me a beer. I was like, wow, this is surreal. But the parties, it was kind of, it was interesting. Because some of the kids on the road, when we were hitting their hometowns, their parents like would cook for us. There were parties down in their basement. So
With the band?
the band, yeah, sometimes Ace would show up, Ace Frehley.
Mm.
And Ace, he was quite the character. He was Ace is in space. as they say. And we pulled jokes on him like the very last show. It was Christmas time in 79. And so, he does this song, 2000 Man, where he pulls up, his guitar and he's shooting supposedly fireworks, which was pyro,
Yeah.
up into the truss, the lighting truss. So instead of, fireworks coming down, we had rubber chickens fall on the stage as a joke. So he was like, oh my God.
During the show?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was like the last show. So it was the crew's turn to get back at the band.
And did he like laugh?
Oh yeah, he was like stunned, but then he sort of like the show went on. It didn't
Yeah.
stop at all. And Gene hated to fly. He was in a trapeze. Chuck, not Chuck. There was this old rigger, Jack the Rigger, we call him, and that was the first truck in. The rigging, the lighting, the truss, everything.
Mm.
So that's first one in and first one out. So Jack, he would put Gene up, on the trap. There was a big platform on Gene's side of the stage.
Uh-huh.
And so Jack was purposely knocking Gene into this platform as Gene was giving Jack the finger from 40 feet up, going, "You mother, I'm going to get you for this."
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then poor old Peter, Peter Chris, did this song called Beth, I Hear You Calling, where he throws out roses. He's on the end of the runway. There was like a runway on the stage that jetted out about maybe 40 feet. But security was right there. So none of
Yeah.
the girls could pounce on him or anything. So his idea was during singing his love song, Beth, throw roses out to the girls. So we turned the fog machines on him as a joke. So it was just one crazy thing after another. The time of my life, the hotels we stayed in,
Were they
only
nice?
only the best, yeah, and unbelievable. The amount of money that sometimes I even made, I would be done with my little duty or whatever, and then I would sell merchandise,
Mhm.
and it was nothing to walk out of there. And mind you, this is 1979. It was nothing to walk out there with like $600 to $800 in cash from
Wow.
selling T-shirts. Yeah.
And were they paying you well?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The money man. Oh man, you talk about security. The funniest thing ever, and it was so weird. Like we're in a hotel, but sometimes the band would walk around without their makeup.
Mm.
But it's so obvious it's Kiss, but it's like everybody's like, "Oh, shh, shh, don't,
Yeah.
no." It was the biggest secret ever. Like you just kind of wink at each other, like, "Hey, dude, how you doing today?" Or
Yeah.
but with their makeup on, I mean, it was crazy. It was insane, and their costumes were like unbelievable, unbelievable.
Did you watch every like show that you went to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I had to be out front to make sure that, there was nothing for me to do backstage, but my place was in front, making sure that um, whatever, if anything went wrong with costumes or, whatever security, then I was there. There were times when these little girls, like 12 or 13, 14, they'd be outside, like in the freezing cold waiting to hopefully get in backstage. Because back then, I know this sounds really crass, but some of the roadies are pretty crass. So they would say things like, "Oh, no head, no backstage pass." For real. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'd go out there and I'd grab these little girls. I said, "You come with me."
Yeah.
So, trying
Wow.
to trying to protect all these 12-year
Yeah.
olds, like, no, you're not gonna, this is not the night you're losing your virginity, kid.
Right. Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they still do that to this day.
Oh, the groupies. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, it was insane. When you think of the overall, and then you just look out at the stadium, there's stadiums, most of the house, like would maybe 20,000, which was
Mm.
big back then. As I said, they were the biggest show on the road at the time.
Right.
And the guy that did the pyro, he did Orange Bowl halftime shows
Mhm.
for, just huge fireworks. And the fire marshals, they'd go crazy. Like the inspections, were like oh my God, you're gonna do what? You
Did
know,
did y'all have to show them before y'all did it? Y'all just had to tell them.
they no, they just told, that wasn't my dealie, but
Mm,
Chuck Elias handled all that, and then he handled all that. The stage manager Casey, he was such a great guy. I wish I could, still keep in touch, but
yeah.
we all sort of went our, separate ways. The coolest thing though was if you were part of a crew and you were in, let's say I'm back in Detroit,
Hmm.
okay, but it's sort of like a common courtesy that if your fellow bandmates or road mates, roadies are in town with another gig, you'll get a backstage pass.
Yeah.
So one time, I'll never forget. I had a lot of backstage passes. Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson, Jethro Tull. I don't know if you ever remember him.
Mm-mm.
A flautist, whatever. His sound checks alone were probably like a concert in itself. But
Wow.
then I know you've heard of a band named Rush. Rush.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they were from. Yeah, Neil Peart just passed away a bit ago.
Wow.
His drummer. But when they were in town, I got to see Rush.
Hmm.
So it's so weird though, because they're just normal guys. I mean, they're so talented. But after the show, somebody asked them, well, what do you guys want to do tonight? And they go, we want to go bowling. I went, okay. So we ended up at Great Lakes Bowl, this old bowling alley on Woodward Avenue. And I find myself bowling next to Geddy Lee. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like,
So wow. So
yeah.
were people like amazed that they were just out bowling?
Pretty much they had the whole place to themselves.
Oh.
They kind of closed it down, and because it was private party or whatever.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay.
it was pretty cool.
Did did you keep in contact with any of like the Kiss band members like afterwards?
I went to a few shows and got in, of course, but I heard that they're coming back. I'm gonna try and work my way into Coda this year and say hi.
Who would you talk to?
Who would I
Like
talk to?
yeah, to like get back in the grace of them.
Probably just try and get to the stage manager or and see if it's possible, to get in. My kids actually toured with me too. I brought them out for a couple of weeks
Oh wow.
in 1979, and they were just wee little ones.
Yeah.
But they had their laminated passes, and Erica, my daughter, would roller skate around the stadium. And Chris, I've got this picture, you would just crack up. Like they're standing, Erica and Chris, they were like, I don't know, like 4 and 6 years old. It was crazy. And they're standing with the group in this, photo is, and Jean's pointing to the kids. Like it's really a keeper. I
Wow.
had guitars, like they had a whole half a truckload, like guitar throwaways from Gibson that are rejects from Gibson.
Right.
And that's when, they smashed the guitar on
Oh, so
stage.
that's when okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So then I brought a guitar home, not the smash one, but I actually brought a guitar home.
Wow.
Yeah.
But besides, did Cher ever say anything to you when you were
Oh,
describing her?
so after I said, holy shit, it's Cher, I was like, oh my God. I was like so flustered. Like I didn't know what to do. So I apologized to her. I felt like I was kneeling down in front of the Pope. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Cher. I'm sorry. And she goes, that's okay. Like, she could have had me thrown out, actually, because
Yeah.
it's Cher.
Yeah.
She's short. She's really tiny.
Really?
And yeah, and her hair was cut short because, and Wig City, there's wigs that, she donned or whatever
Mm,
constantly. Her look was always changing. But she was really sweet. She was a sweetheart.
yeah.
After Jean, then I think she moved over to Greg Allman from the Allman Brothers. Yeah,
Uh,
I
did you,
know.
is there any other like people that you have met?
Oh yeah, yeah. There were several groups. I actually got to go out with John back in the day. His name was John Cougar,
Mm-hmm.
but it's John Mellencamp
Mm-hmm.
right now. And are you familiar with him, hun?
No.
No, John Mellencamp. They still play him a lot. Like there's a song called "I Need a Lover." There's another song called "Little Pink Houses." You could Google them and you'll know
Yeah,
who.
yeah. Maybe if I heard him, I would probably know.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I got some great names for you to Google tonight.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you in a sec. Awesome,
Now,
awesome names. Yeah.
when we were at the Jackie show,
Uh huh.
um, I, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me
Uh
if I'm
huh.
wrong. I remember you were talking to your friend. Shout out your friend. I remember you talking to her. She was nice too. She sat and
Uh
talked to me for a little bit.
huh.
Is it true? And I may be wrong, because I was a little drunk that night.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what
I kept
you
getting all the free beers too from that one rep
oh man.
that
Wait,
was there.
the free beers, you kept buying me drinks.
Oh yeah, no, no, yeah. And then the more I thought about it, I don't know why I just didn't order you a Jack and Coke. It's like what? You said
Uh,
whiskey and Coke, but back in the day, it was like Jack and Coke. You know?
well, you live you
Yeah.
learn.
Ah.
You used to clean Gladys Knight's house. Is that true?
Who?
What did I hear? Whose house you used to clean?
Whose
Did you
house?
clean
Whose?
Gladys Knight?
No, no.
Then
Uh-uh.
where did I hear that? I heard something from you.
I wish. I was in a Aretha Franklin video.
Okay, maybe it was. How did that happen?
She did a song called Freeway of Love.
Hmm.
And I'm going riding on the freeway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was this restaurant in Ferndale, actually, on Woodward Avenue named Doug's Body Shop.
Hmm.
And it was the coolest restaurant. It was like the cars were like, they had these old classic cars.
But
They
were
were,
were they were they clad? They were current then, right?
no, they were old classic back then. Yeah, it was not.
Okay.
They would cut these cars in half and then use them as a booth for you to sit down,
Oh
and
yeah,
dinner.
yeah.
Or the salad bar was part of a car or
Hmm.
whatever. So she did her video there and I was an extra.
Wow.
But, I didn't clean Gladys Knight's house. I think that, I've cleaned a lot of houses back in the day during the college years,
Hmm.
back in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Um, but that's a whole nother time too. I worked theater in Birmingham, Michigan. I was a wardrobe assistant back then. So wardrobe sort of started early.
Yeah.
Well, no, with Kiss it was in '79, and then the wardrobe later on for small shows. There's a family called the Niederlander family, and they
Hmm.
owned the Birmingham Theater. So I did wardrobe, and for their big musicals that would come. And
So
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
that's okay. No, 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 go.
But okay. So sorry to take it back to Kiss, but you said when
That's
you do
okay.
wardrobe for them, is that just like what running in and out, getting them stuff, or making something?
Making no, no, I was not a seamstress. No,
Oh, okay.
not no. I wish because my career would have gone a lot further. I could have actually moved to New York.
Yeah.
I had the chance when Phantom of the Opera opened up,
Hmm.
and it ran for years, as we know. I was asked to go if I wanted to go to New York, but I knew I would have to move there, and I decided no, I better not because my kids were little. They were, I was a
And
single
you were
mom.
still in Detroit.
Yeah, yeah, I was a
I
single
guess
mom. Mhm.
Detroit was like good back then, right? Like driving and.
Yeah, oh yeah. There were certain recessions going on at various times,
Mhm.
and then the big three really started hurting when Toyota came onto the scene, and
Mhm.
the foreign cars,
Yeah. Yeah.
were the big three, GM and Chrysler and Ford. They really started to they took a big hit.
Right.
But I'm so glad they're coming back. I went to Detroit last year
Hmm.
and I rented a car. I thought, no, I got to go downtown and see what's going on. And it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like unbelievable. It's kind of like this Renaissance period that they're going through. And hopefully they're going to make it because Ford Motor Company, right now, they're working on electric cars,
Yeah.
the way of the future. And they actually bought I don't know if the name of it, but this old beautiful railroad station at the corner at the foot. Everything, Detroit River is beautiful.
Hmm.
The river separates Detroit from Canada, so the waterway is really gorgeous. So as long as they take advantage of that. But this old railroad station, it's incredible. Like the architectural design on it is just something to like take in and just be
Yeah.
in awe. So Ford Motor Company, I guess, purchased that, and they're going to put like major offices there, which is
Oh
really great.
wow.
I know.
Can I
Yeah.
can I ask you a real question?
Yep.
So with you being around back then, and this is just a question, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But how, if you seen any, how was there like crazy racism back in the day, or
Uh,
segregation, or
only what it kind of you break the cycle yourself
right?
because it's all learned from your parent, not your parents, but my grandfather.
Mm,
I broke the cycle with him, and no words were ever really meant to be hurtful.
right.
Like when my kids were growing up, it was to nothing to have like one of their best friends be a young black boy and hey Carlos, come on in, and I was friends with his mom. But the racism, I'm sure there, but I never really, put myself in the middle of anything. You know what I mean? Vietnam protest. I went to Chicago, the Democratic Convention in '68 too.
What was the Vietnam protest? They were protesting the
Well,
war.
the war, yeah, the war, and then the Democratic Convention in '68. Mayor Daley was the mayor of Chicago back then,
Hmm.
and you talk about like just unbelievable, like barbed wire around the convention center.
Wow.
There's this really great movie, and you could watch it and do me a favor, catch it. It's called Chicago 7.
So it's okay.
Yeah, it's out there. And I don't know if it's Netflix or
Is
whatever.
it new?
No,
Oh,
But the characters in it, I forget who plays in it now. I'm so sorry, honey, but it's called Chicago 7. And it's about the trial of the 7 people that they really held responsible for the riots that occurred in Chicago at the Democratic Convention. But we all know that the boys in blue.
oh, this came
uh,
out in 2020.
Oh, did it? Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really it's worth watching because
Okay.
it tells you so much history about that day and age, and there's real footage, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They might have even referred back to the race riots in Detroit in '67,
Hmm.
which were also caused by a shooting of a young black boy, I believe. That's how it started, and then the rest was just history with the looting and the fires, and it
Isn't
was
it crazy that it just
so sad.
cycle repeats itself? Like
Yeah, and
we're
I
just going
know,
through it again.
I know, I know.
And I like I even felt weird asking you that, but I
Yeah,
I don't talk to a lot of lot of white people that are older than me, you know what I mean, that may have
yeah.
been around that time. So I was always curious. So I mean, I don't want you to take any offense to me
Oh
asking
God, no, no, no. Talk, baby, talk.
you
This
that.
is what it's all about. It's people like
Yeah,
you and I that make a change. You
it is.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
and it. That's what I mean. Like break the cycle, break it. Like this is.
Well, I knew that you weren't the type because you approached me because I
Yeah,
remember I was at the
yeah,
concert with my resting bitch face as I call it,
yeah.
and I was just sitting there. You approached me, and I respect that because what I learned was I don't want to say never judge a book by its cover, but
Mhm.
that sometimes age is just a number.
Yeah.
Because you were like when you were telling me about the blues on the green story about
Yeah.
how you had the walker, and I was like, I can't even picture you with the walker because when I met you, you could have ran circles around me.
I worked my way up front that night. I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I gotta see Jackie. I gotta see my girl. I adore her. I like she is like probably one of the hardest working people.
Yeah,
I can't praise her enough.
I know.
She streamed her A double arse off, and during this pandemic, she kept us all. I have goosebumps talking about her.
Yeah.
She's when she plays Back to Earth. She played Back to Earth on Blues on the Green
Hmm.
2 nights ago. I started crying. Like the song is so beautiful.
My
The-
favorite song is probably "All Rise" and "Pain Goes Away."
Oh yeah.
And I love it.
Oh.
I told Jackie, it might have been maybe a week or two after where I met you, and I told her that I was like, "Hey, I met this cool lady. You know what I mean? She's getting
Ah.
ready for kids," and she just thought it was dope. And she was like, "Wow, what at a Jackie Vincent show? You know what I mean? Like this is the type of stuff." Because I always
Oh,
felt,
that's funny.
even from back in the day, from going to
Yeah.
Jackie shows, like it's always just a mixed crowd.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
It
mean?
is
But
right. Yeah.
right, but it's a friendly mixed crowd, and then it's
Uh-huh.
a crowd of people who may have done some pretty cool things.
Yeah, she brings people together,
Yeah.
and it's just people my age, people your age. It's like it's amazing the fans that she has with this JV squad. I've made friends with people in Germany,
Wow.
the Netherlands, you name it, like and all over the country. So she's and if you told her that you talked to Andy, she would definitely know it's me because
Oh,
I'm always
I'm gonna tell her then. I'm gonna tell her because
yeah.
I didn't say your name. I just said I
Oh,
met
that's
this
so
lady.
cool. She killed it the other night. She knocked it out of the park,
Yeah.
literally. Like her expressions on her face.
Oh man,
Oh my god. I've never seen anything like it. Like just
I love it.
incredible. I went to that show at the 360 when she Blackalack was there.
Mhm.
It was the same time that she was given all those awards. Like she won best artist, best album, best streaming.
Yeah.
I remember all those. Like, oh my
She
god,
she just hit like a million streams, I think.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I know her manager, or she posted that
Hmm.
for was it Joy for the album Joy?
Yeah, yeah,
But there she is out on tour again, working it. You know,
yeah.
she's amazing, just amazing.
She she let me hear some I guess some stuff from her new album that's about to come out.
Yeah,
But she wouldn't email it to me. She only played it to me like over this.
yeah,
And it's wow. Like I was like, wow.
blow you away. I
Yeah,
know.
it's amazing.
Is she gonna? I wonder if she's gonna do any acoustic stuff at all, acoustics or
Yes. But
guitar.
it's gonna be more blues.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like muddy water type
yeah.
blues. Yeah.
Oh man, you know what you got to look up for me? Hang on, I'm getting my readers on
Oh yeah,
here.
bring your notes out. Bring your notes out.
Oh yeah, I got them right here. So I told you about the Wild Catholic girls. You know who I reminded myself of back in the day? I'm sure you've seen Britney Spears
Yes.
video in that little Catholic girl school uniform.
Hit Me Baby One More Time is the song.
Oops, oops, I did it
Oh,
again.
is it Oops I Did It Again?
That was me. Yeah, oops, I did it again. When the Beatles came on, honey, in '64, and they were on a show, Ed Sullivan.
Hmm.
I was the idiot actually with my camera taking pictures of the TV screen.
You
Yeah.
what?
I was taking photos of the TV screen. Like that's how insane we were as
Wait,
young girls.
wait. So I may have thought this wrong. You weren't telling me Wild Catholic Girls was a group to look up, were you?
Oh no, no, no. I'm
I,
just saying I was a no, I could that would be a great name though.
yeah, because I
That's
started typing it in, and then like Girls Gone Wild came up. So I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Back in the day, it was funny because you talk about racism. Nobody in my school was really my class. We weren't racist, we were all about, let's just be what we are. And you were either a greaser back in the day. This
Oh
is
yeah.
fun. You were either a greaser or a frat, FRAT. So I guess, I hung out with both,
Are greasers like the
yeah, the slick back
yeah,
hair and the leather jackets.
yeah.
And then the frat were like the little polo shirts and, and the little like flips for the hair for the girls.
I
And,
think those still exist, the
yeah.
frats.
Yeah, they still do. They go to UT.
Yes.
You should see the stuff that I used to get out of dumpsters when I first moved here. I managed a small apartment building in
Mm,
Hyde Park. And so these kids, their parents would buy them everything. So after they'd break their lease, their furniture just ends up out on the curb. And I was out there like at midnight saying, "Oh, I want this lamp.
yeah.
I'll take this couch." My apartment was sweet. It was really nice.
I have a friend who's like that.
I'm not proud. Yeah.
No, he's proud.
Oh yeah.
He is
Yeah.
proud.
Yeah. It's great. If it's there for the taking, help yourself.
Right, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
What do they say? God helps those who help themselves.
You gotta help yourself sometimes. You gotta help yourself sometimes to other people's
Yeah.
stuff that is on the curb.
I don't know, Cruise and Woodward was such a thing. I told you about the English accent.
Hmm.
I went to Woodstock, the one and only,
Okay,
in
like
si- in
do
69.
tell.
Yeah, 1969.
Hmm.
It was pretty incredible,
Was
Moke.
that Jimi Hendrix?
Indeed it was. The
Man,
one.
how was
Yeah.
that? Were
I
you a hippie?
still have to pinch myself.
Were you a hippie?
Uh, yeah, kind of like not, you know, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to New York to stay with my brother because my dad, it was really a tough time. My dad had cancer.
Mhm.
So, and he survived a lot of bouts with it, and going through radiation treatments. God bless him. So my mom suggested, like, hey, you should go stay with your brother Ted for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was on break from college. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went to Brooklyn to stay with my brother. And he was kind of, he's older than me. So he was 11 years older. And he got kind of an attitude like, hey, you didn't finish the ketchup on your plate. I went, what?
Duh.
Okay. Sorry. Like, didn't know it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
But so I met up with these groups of friends and in Brooklyn, and they say, "Hey, Andy." I said, "What?" And they go, "You want to go to? There's a festival upstate. You want to go?" I went, "Sure, why not?" So I found myself at Woodstock 3 days later with a 500,000 people.
Now,
Uh,
back in those days, respectfully, I should ask, did you dabble in drugs?
no, not then. That didn't come till later either.
Did you dabble with drugs with Kiss?
Marijuana. Oh, sure. Yeah.
I bet they had some good drugs.
Marijuana. Well, the drug man would come in. Either it was he or the money man that would have the um what would I say? Like, okay, so you've got handcuffs on, right?
Mhm.
And the other part of the handcuff is cuffed to the briefcase that you're carrying in.
Right.
So either that was the money man or it could have been the other guy. I never really knew.
Oh, okay.
We sort of like turned our heads the other way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because you knew what was going on, but
Right. Yeah.
you didn't really like talk about it. I'll tell you more later in
Yeah.
private
Yeah. For sure.
because there's some good ones. But I don't want to,
So let's go back to Woodstock.
yeah,
So this is what the first Woodstock,
yes, sir. 1969,
and 500,000 people.
500,000.
And
Yeah.
you spent the night there?
Oh yeah, tickets for the 3-day festival. Get this,
Jesus
$18.50.
Christ.
Yeah, $18
They're
and
like
fifty cents
$300 to go to ACL for 3 days.
for yeah. So basically, the tickets then didn't even matter
But
because they
yeah,
just
tickets must have been unlimited if they had
well,
500,000 people there.
no, you know what they did, hon? They just tore the fences down. They said, "F it," like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous.
Mhm.
The farmer that opened up his land to us because it had to be moved to another location like a few days prior. And if it wasn't for, this Max stepping up, I can't recall his last name right now, sorry, stepping up and giving his land as he did. But all the townspeople, even people make it out to be a lot worse than it was. It was a
I've never
gathering.
heard nothing bad about Woodstock.
Oh yeah, no, but some of the older people like, you're that. But it was 3 days of nothing but peace, love, and harmony. There was no violence,
What was there? Was
no
it like
violence.
24-hour music?
Yeah, well, there was
Like
very
somebody
little.
was playing at like 4 in the morning?
So pretty much, yeah, a little bit of sleep time. But then when the storms came, it rained. People are still asking me to this day. Here's a good one for you. Don't you have any pictures? I went, no. It rained and we didn't have cell phones back then, okay? Like,
Even nowadays for music festivals, when I go, I don't
yeah.
take pictures
Nah.
because I just like to experience it. And I'm like,
I
whoever's
know.
not there is not there.
I know, right? I was doing that the other night with Blues on the Green. I was like trying to video Jackie, and I thought, this is so silly.
Yeah.
I'm here to see her. And why am I like so involved with my phone? I was like, finally, I said, screw it. I wanted to see her. So you are so right.
So how was because the legendary thing in Woodstock was the mud, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
was that? Because I bet that was like,
It was
nobody was showering. I'm pretty
it
sure
was pretty
everybody was
bad.
just living.
It was like one giant, those little rubber things called slip and slide.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. It was just one giant slip and slide. And then the lake was there. So people would go bathe in the lake. No, I never got nude. I didn't do acid back then. That wasn't until later.
Oh man. Oh, I would love
Nah.
to. So,
So many
what did
people
you
didn't
eat?
know where I needed to know where I was at,
Oh,
though.
of course, yeah, with 500,000 people, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously in the air. I mean, the air was like pungent, to say the word. It was incredible. So the townspeople, too, gathered when we ran out of food. The townspeople like gathered actually food.
Oh, people cared about y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
What?
unbelievable. Because so many people, you come unprepared. Here I was, this like stupid little girl, 19 years old, college, like blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and I go with my little jacket and my tennis shoes and my Levi's and a couple bottles of water. Like, what was I thinking?
A couple times.
you know, what was I thinking?
Who was the headliner?
Oh my God, honey. Everybody. I'll tell you my very favorite, and I know that you've heard of Richie Havens.
Who does he sing with?
Richie Havens is a solo act.
I'm gonna look him
Make
up.
sure you Google it after we're done tonight. You got to Google a
You
few
said
names.
Richie or Ricky?
Richie, Richie. Havens, Havens.
Oh wow.
So make sure that you Google him, because there's something about him that was so magical when he came on. When he did this rendition, just you'll see it when you Google it.
Yeah.
Santana, of course, Jimi Hendrix, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Janis. I don't know what else to say. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
Just insane. Like, just the movie did it justice. They really did do it justice. Of course, I have the album somewhere buried in storage here.
He doesn't have his top row of teeth?
What, baby?
He doesn't have his top row of teeth?
Who's that?
Richie Havens.
Wait, he doesn't have what?
His top row of teeth.
Oh, I don't know.
I just read that it says many Woodstock fans noticed that Richie Havens didn't have his top row of teeth while performing at the festival.
Well, I'll be darned. Okay. All right.
But then he bought implants. But
He's
wow, that's
amazing. He's amazing.
I'm definitely gonna have to look this guy up.
Oh yeah, honey. Like yeah, he brought it down. He just like he had yeah. Um, and the chanting that went on, no more rain, no more rain, in the towers when the guys were like yelling like, clear the towers, and the thunder and the lightning and two babies were born.
What?
Yeah, during Woodstock, yeah. God knows how many were made.
I know. But so
Yeah.
Woodstock was just like a peaceful event.
No, no violence. No, none, none.
Were they you
No
know
violence.
how the celebrities here when there's festivals like you don't really see them? Did y'all get to see the celebrities like outside of them performing? Like were they just kind of
No, I
walking
was so
around?
far away. Everybody, I was not up front. Let's put it that way. To see the aerial views of the people themselves, once you were in your spot, I
Is that
doubt that if
is
you
that where
walked
you
away too
slept?
far, you'd never find it again because it was just, if you could imagine blues in the green times 500, it was insane.
Is
It
that
was,
is that where you slept? Like your
yeah,
spot?
yeah, yeah.
I'm
It
I'm
was
I'm actually trying to look up wow.
just, it's
Like
crazy.
Woodstock pictures from the 60s? Was it the 60s?
Yeah, 69, honey. Yeah. There
Wow.
was another one in 1999,
99. Yeah, that's
but
the
it didn't quite compare,
I remember
nothing.
watching that one on TV back at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
And yeah, they said, and for me, that one was big. But I mean, like
Oh yeah.
the Woodstock, I during my era. But I've always known this one. But now that I'm actually really looking at the pictures of this,
Isn't it crazy?
wow.
Isn't it
Because I
nuts?
mean,
I know.
I go to ACL. You know, ACL is like where Blues on the Greens at, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, this is a lot of people. But that
Yeah.
is half the population of Austin
Yeah.
at a concert. I can just imagine what that
Oh,
would do to like I guess the artists playing and everybody just there, just having a great time, just like just
it was so great, hon. It really was. There, I don't even remember how long it took us to get home, but we finally made it back to Brooklyn.
where was
Jim,
Woodstock at?
Jimi Hendrix got paid $18,000.
That was a lot back then.
Yeah, back then, yeah, it was.
Wow.
It really was. The blues.
Did he play Voodoo Child?
What, dear?
Did Jimi Hendrix play Voodoo Child?
Oh, he was on stage, as I recall, honey, for like a good hour and a half, if not longer. He just brought it down. But, his most famous song, obviously was, you know,
Purple Haze.
well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Wow.
I was, I don't know. It's like back in Detroit too, there were some great shows. The band called The Who. The
Oh yeah, I
Who.
know the Who. Have you ever
Yeah.
heard of Iggy and the Stokes or the Strokes?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw him and the Red Hot Chili Pepper live in ACL.
Oh man, that was a good one.
Yeah. And he was like, this was probably like maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't go, I gave my ticket up to my grandson. I wanted to go see McCartney, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I just said, "No, Ethan, you go." He's 14 or 15 years old. I want you to experience.
Yeah. Because I mean,
I'm going to
who
share it.
not a lot of people get not a lot of kids can say, hey, my grandma gave me some
Yeah.
festival tickets.
Yeah. So he and his mom, they were watching McCartney together and singing Hey Jude together. And like,
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I should have called you last week because I had a ticket for Jimmy Vaughn at Antone's.
Yes,
And
you should have called me.
I know. And I went on the JV squad, or Jimmy, on the squad I went on, but I gave it away. I was like, just this guy was so happy to get it. He was
Yeah.
like, he had seen them, like he had seen Jimmy like way back when. So I think he was an older dude, like
Yeah.
me. And so he was really, really grateful because he had never been to Antone's yet. And I told him, no, it's on Fifth Street. I had to tell him where the new one was at and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, and he had a really great time. Yeah. So,
That's good.
but the Who, there was a place in Detroit called the Grandy
Mhm.
Ballroom. And I remember that in August. It was so hot there. They were pouring buckets of water on us. So I saw the Who for like, maybe it was like $3, maybe. Yeah. Is that Bob Seger? You know Bob Seger.
Yeah.
Well, he's from a town right next to mine where I grew up. He was from Royal Oak. And he used to play like uh, high school dances,
Wow.
50 cents, 50 cents to go see Bob Seger.
So okay, so how much were Kiss tickets if you knew?
Oh wow. Maybe 12, maybe
So
12-ish.
how much were they getting paid per show then?
Oh, hon. Their management, you they had this management out of New York. His name was Bill, Bill, a coin,
Mhm.
Aucoin, a coin management. This guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
This guy, they made so much money off of merchandise, shows. I mean, it was insane.
And were they doing shows every day?
It was pretty weird because I think they had two different sets. Of course, the rigger Jack was the first one out. So then the 10 Peterbilts. No, I'd say like every 2 to 3 days. You know,
Okay.
so and I could be wrong about the ticket price. So don't quote
Oh,
me on
oh
that.
no, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I forget what I even paid for the Beatles. I gave my ticket stub to my daughter. I said, "Oh, I want you to have this Beatles ticket stub." And she lost it. I went, "No,
But
no." It was like,
living in Detroit, did you ever get into Motown?
did I get into Motown?
I mean, did you listen to that?
Oh, honey, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Here's a good one. You ready?
Yeah.
I I actually, not money wise, but I worked for children's charities.
Hmm.
Ronald McDonald. We did kids theater in the state of Michigan. I think it's like true for every state. Ronald McDonald the clown. Okay.
Yeah.
So they do school shows, drop, stop, and roll, safety shows, parades. So in every state, there's two Ronald McDonalds, usually. So I worked for one of them in the Detroit area. So we did a lot of children's theater. It was called Story Builders, where the kids would write stories, and
Yeah.
then the actors, you would work out of a trunk with your props and bring the kids' stories to life. So it was a really clever idea, and the money was really good. But he was asked to produce because he was a big front man, like a big showman. The guy
Mhm.
that I worked for, being Ronald McDonald itself, is like he's his personality was like,
Wait, you work for Ronald McDonald?
yeah, it was like his little
So the guy who dressed up as a clown?
yeah.
Okay.
So then we did work for McDonald's Corporation, and then Variety Club. Variety Club is like a huge. They started out of New York, I
Mhm.
think. Variety, and they children's charities. So they had asked my boss. First we went to see the Spinners, right?
Oh
And we
wow.
were Yeah, we were backstage with the Spinners at this hotel, and it was like fantastic. So the next
That's
op
when you were with Kiss, or
no, this is
okay.
all like in the 80s and early 80s.
Okay.
It kind of seems like it just flowed from one thing to the next. It was crazy. And mind you, I was working with kids full time too at this time,
Mhm.
back in 80 when I graduated. So basically, they asked my boss, like, hey, Variety Club approached him and said, can you handle this concert? We want the Temptations.
Wow.
So Tom, my boss, said, no, I'm going to let Andy handle it. So
Wow.
I handled the whole shooting match, from top to bottom, contracts, backup, orchestra, everything from food, catering, what do you call it? Table, hello, craft table, um, picking up at the airport with their cases. Here they are out on stage at this really cute music theater in Royal Oak, Michigan. And I'm downstage and then they're singing, boom, bum, 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 my
Yeah.
girl. And I'm dancing to myself backstage, doing the crossover. And I wasn't out front at all to see the show live because my place then was either side stage with the lighting guy, not lighting guy, but lighting was good, sound was good. We had it all down, and I think I raised around a little over 50,000 that night. Yeah, for kids, but I wasn't paid at all. But I can actually say, that I produced a Temptations concert.
So see, you have a lot of these gems that you're just like just keeping under wraps.
it,
Wow.
it was fun, hon. Like, so there's our soul. Like, Detroit is music history.
Yeah.
There's a great app that you should go on, actually, and I'll send it to you. I'll message you, hon.
Okay.
It's Detroit music history, and you just wouldn't believe the stuff that came out of there. You know,
I bet.
you got to write this name down for me.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I've worn so many hats, Moki, as you can tell by now.
Hmm.
But one of my jobs back in the day too was bartending, and I was a damn good bartender. You know, if you sang and you danced for those tips.
Right.
And I worked at this really famous bar in Hamtramck, Michigan, called the Attic, Attic.
Hmm.
Blues bar, old bar, wooden floors, you know, the old ice cream chairs, like
Yeah.
peanut shells all over the floor. Nobody cared, you know. So there was a man there that entertained. I can't, I start crying just thinking about him. Do me a favor and write this down. His name is Uncle
Hmm.
Jesse, Jessie,
Hmm.
White, White. And there was a documentary out about Uncle Jesse. I
The
would sit on the piano bench next to him and watch him play. That's
por-
how
portrait of a
privileged.
Delta blues man in Detroit.
Yeah. I
Yep.
would sit next to Uncle Jesse back in the day when he was like reaching the end of his, the
Yeah.
end of his, life or career. And sit next to him and watch him. He played a mouth organ. He played a blues harp like you never heard. This is this is what blues were. He was a sharecropper. When he was 5 years old, he had a a sack that was like maybe 4 feet long. Then when he was 7 years old, he had a sack to put cotton in that was 7 feet long. Then when he was 11 years old, he had a sack to put his cotton in that was 9 feet long, and that was the longest you could have.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the history? So just try and watch this and do yourself a favor, because when you say blues, he really was a legend. He's legend.
I've never seen a mouth organ till now.
It's incredible.
Wow.
He wore it around it and played piano on this old
Yeah.
upright piano. He would pound on that thing like there was nothing to it.
They even honor him in Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. There was another group, kiddo, that they were friends of mine, the Butler twins, Butler. They're both passed on right now. But Clarence and Curtis, they uh, they lived above the bar. We all lived above the bar. It was kind of cool because
Yeah.
there were apartments above the bar. And Clarence and Curtis played at the Attic like all the time, and the place was packed, just packed.
Yes, it says one of their albums is called The Butler Boogie Live at the Attic.
Yeah, yeah. So it was crazy. It was so much fun, hon. I can't even. And Uncle Jesse passed away in 2008. But do yourself a favor and make sure that you watch, that documentary. It'll really be good. Did you happen to see the article today that came out in the Chronicle
Of which?
about Gary? Yeah, check it out.
Gary Clark?
Yeah, it was so cute. It was
Yeah.
really sweet. There was a whole picture of the whole group, backstage.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I
Did you
saw that.
see it? Wasn't it
Yeah.
nice? Yeah.
I one of my goal is to I gotta get Gary on here.
Oh my
One
God.
day, one day. You know
Oh,
what I mean? But I like kind of having legends such as yourself on here
oh, honey. Oh,
because I like the history and just how humble you are about it just blows my mind.
oh, sweetie. Thank you.
Because I'm a music guy, you know what I mean? And like I love music stuff. So just
Hmm.
with going to Jackie's show and all these other musicians, I'm always like, put me on your guest list, I'll come.
Yeah.
It's just for the fact that
Yeah.
you worked with iconic
Oh,
bands at their highest level, and that you were in Aretha Franklin, and you did this with the Temptations, and you like you saw the Beatles for like $13, maybe you went to Woodstock for $18, and I mean, like, I love and I envy that about you to the point that one, I am dressed like I work at McDonald's right now because I said I'm gonna look nice for you,
Oh,
and I usually have a foul mouth, and I probably said about two curse words
oh,
tonight, and
I,
I even told my girl, I said I am going to talk correct when I talk to this
oh,
beautiful young lady tonight,
oh,
and I I'm actually like I'm really inspired, but I feel like a a, a good person. I mean, like,
yeah.
man,
You are such a
because
good person.
I I respect the fact that how we met, you know what I mean, and
Uh-huh.
and the fact that you thought I was famous. Maybe I am. I
Oh,
don't
you are.
know.
You are.
But just how we stayed in contact, and I was always I was really looking forward to this because
Oh,
I knew you had a lot of great stories, and I know you still do. And I don't know where I got the you cleaning Gladys Knight's house from. I don't know where I got that from.
I think what
Somebody cleaned her house.
another story, a really quick one. Tried to start my own business
Hmm.
here in Austin too. Before the nanny world came in, because I knew I'd end up going back to kids.
Yeah.
Because what's better, right?
Right.
So, but I used to clean restaurants in Austin. Like I had restaurant contracts, and I worked for Sandra Bullock.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Oh, you met her?
Yo, yeah,
I love
she's
Sandra Bullock.
she's like everything you think she is. Like, nothing's fake about her. She is the girl next door. Like,
Is she like funny how she is in the movies?
not, yeah, I guess so, but I didn't, I got to see her. Of course I was working at her restaurant. She opened up a restaurant on 6th Street. It was beautiful, called Bess, and it was
Hmm.
like a little bistro downstairs, like from this huge office building that she bought. It was on West 6th Street. But she at the time was kind of getting married or married to that fellow, Jesse.
Hmm.
That didn't work out very well for her, and I
Oh,
felt,
is it Jesse James?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we all know what happened there, but
Wasn't he like? Didn't he have like Nazi stuff, or was that he messing with somebody that was doing that?
I think he was messing with somebody. And
Oh,
who in the hell in their right mind would cheat on Sandra Bullock?
I know.
Hello,
But
but
Jay Z cheated on Beyonce.
yeah. Say, oh, what? Oh, okay.
All I'm saying is that, like, I guess at some point that when you're
Oh,
at that level, I don't know. I would never cheat on Sandra Bullock.
no. I've got one saying in life that I'll leave you with. What time is it? We need to. Oh my God. Um, I'll leave you with one saying that I kind of live by.
Okay.
Well, first of all, in the nanny world, and this holds true with anybody.
Mhm.
People would say, like, what do you like about nannying or being with people? And the fact is that if you just make a difference in one person's life, like you've done for me tonight, or vice versa, you make a difference, you know? And
Yeah.
the worst part about, is saying goodbye, in the
Mhm.
nanny world, because you're just like so attached to the
Yeah.
families. And I'm lucky enough that I can still see them.
Mhm.
Um, it's the best ever, that they still know me as Andi.
Yeah.
And I'll go see them, and they still like run up to me and give me hugs. And, and my other motto is, Moke, I'll leave you with this thought. It's okay to fall down. Just don't lay there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just pull yourself up. I know it's hard some days, me too. I like, oh my God, what am I doing? Still chasing babies, but
Yeah.
it's like keeps me going. And
Yeah.
this podcast that you're doing, I want to become a patron now. And like there's another friend of mine in India that I support, Tucker Livingston,
Mhm.
songwriter from Austin. He moved over to India like I don't know how many years ago, but I think
Wow.
Patreon is really a great thing, and
Yeah.
you're part of that, right, dude?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So
I'm.
you
I'm a. We said Tucker Livingston.
Tucker, uh huh,
'Cause I'm a look.
Livingston, Livingston, and
He's a musician.
yeah, yeah, musician,
Yeah.
writer, songwriter,
He
and
popped up.
he's really good. And I try and like I haven't talked to him in a while, but I was trying to help him like boost his confidence level because he's so talented,
Yeah.
But when you lose sight of yourself and don't think you can do it, you can do it.
Right.
You're doing it. Look
Yeah.
at you, you know, you're doing it. So it's been a pleasure.
It
And
has too.
I
I'm
can't wait to
really
give you a hug, you know?
yes. We have to like meet up for dinner or drinks or something.
Yeah,
We have to.
yeah. Then I'll tell you all the crazy stories from
Yes, please.
my son was the professional mascot.
Oh yeah, you told me that of
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons.
And the Tigers, yeah.
Wow.
One time I met yeah, one time I met Isaiah Thomas and I'm like freaking out, right? I'm back, I'm back by behind the whatever, the curtain,
Yeah.
and I shake his hand and I'm like, "How do you do, Mr. Thomas?" And he goes, "Oh, just call me Isaiah." I went, "Oh, Isaiah." It's like, damn. And he goes, "Oh, please." He goes, "You're the lady that taught this kid how to dance." And I went, "That's right, I am." Like
Wow.
he was my son, like in this crazy costumes when he worked for Major League Baseball and NBA. Come and sit on my lap, and I'm on the jumbotron. I could have killed him, right? Like, and it was like, oh my God, get me out of here. But it was so fun. I wouldn't trade it for a moment. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He had a lot of fun with it. He's
I,
not in the suit anymore. 'Cause, he's in his 40s. You,
right. Yeah.
you can't,
But
repel
just to
from
say that he
ceilings
did
and
that, like I
stuff.
was the mascot for the Detroit Pistons and the Tigers.
Yeah. It was a great gig. Yeah, but he's doing really well. He's got his own entertainment company in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Charlotte's a nice place. You get a lot for your money over there.
Yeah.
None of these little houses over here, like,
Right. That are one
oh,
bedroom house
God,
for 500,000.
Moke. There's a house, like, it's a half a block away. Somebody flipped it. It's a typical little ranch, cutesy. Maybe in 2000 when I moved here, might have sold for like 80. They
Uh,
want 650,000 for it.
wow.
650. I'm in South Austin. I love South Austin.
Yeah.
So it's nuts here. I don't know, kiddo, But it's home. I'm home, you
Right.
know. So I'm not going anywhere.
We definitely have to meet up because I'm in Buda, which is basically South Austin.
Ah, you're a hop, skip, and a
Yeah.
jump.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's all coming together. No,
Mhm.
Butta's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Buda, and Buda itself, sometimes when I go out to eat, is kind of busy.
Yeah.
So then I started going to San Marcos, and
Ah,
it is not busy at all.
no, for real.
But it's not. But I love like being in the little South Park Meadows area,
Yeah. Yeah.
slaughter areas type.
Oh,
So
it's funny. When I drove Uber and Lyft too, right?
really,
Oh, yeah. Well, when I when I was trying to finish college back in Detroit, you talk about a gutsy lady. I drove a taxi. I drove a cab.
oh
So yeah, it was crazy. I worked midnights, and it was pretty crazy. One time, all right, God, so many stories. You're gonna kill me.
no,
Um, One time, this dude gets into my cab. It was like, I don't know, Friday night in Southfield, Michigan. The deal was that you couldn't pick up in the city of Detroit, but you could drop off anywhere. So I had a pickup, and you never know, like you're one up on the stand or whatever. That's how it worked.
yeah,
So I go to the hotel and I pick this dude up. This guy gets in the back of my cab and he said, "I bet you don't know who I am, pretty lady." I said, "I bet I do, Mr. Orbison." I had Roy Orbison in my cab.
just like that.
Pretty woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it was during the time where he had sort of a downtime
Hmm.
before he went with the Cranberries,
Yeah.
So, but it was back in the 80s again, where he was doing shows out
Wow.
in nightclubs. Yeah, so it was fun. But make sure you watch Uncle Jesse White.
I will. I promise.
Yeah,
I
do
will.
yourself a favor. You're
Yeah,
gonna love it.
I will.
You're
And,
gonna
and
love it.
send me any other body you want to listen to also.
I will. You know I will. Yeah. All
Well,
right, babe.
this was great. And
I hope so. I
I
hope so.
this meant the world to me. Like it really
Oh,
did.
honey.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
keep in touch and let's meet up soon. Let's have a bite to eat or something.
You got it, kid.
All right. Have a
I
good
love
night.
you.
Love you too.
Bye, Moke.
Bye. Oh man, this what a great show. Oh man, what a lovely lady. I myself was nervous because I knew how legendary she was, but this I had a great night and I legit feel like I made a new good friend. So the life of Andi, uh everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching, and I look like I work at McDonald's right now, and I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. Shout out to Moses for the setup.
Dom the Monko.
Moke and friends. Have a good night. I'm tired. So I'm good.